The rain hammered against the coffee shop windows like it had a personal grudge. Joshua Martin stared at his phone screen. $187.42. 3 weeks until his disability check. 2 growing girls who ate like they were training for competitive eating. Math didn't lie. Neither did hunger. "Daddy?" Emma pressed her nose against the display case. 6 years old and already perfecting the art of breaking hearts. "Can we get the chocolate muffin, please? I'll share with Angela." The glass fogged with her breath. Little fingerprints smudged the surface. Behind the counter, the barista pretended not to notice. Seattle hospitality meant looking away when people couldn't afford pastries. Joshua's throat tightened. "Maybe next time, baby." The lie tasted like copper. There wouldn't be a next time. Not this month. Maybe not next month either. Angela touched his arm. 8 years old. Too smart. Too aware. "It's okay, Dad. I'm not hungry anyway." Another lie. They'd eaten generic cereal for breakfast, peanut butter sandwiches for lunch. His daughters were learning to lie to protect him. That's what failure looked like. Right there. In the eyes of kids who deserved chocolate muffins and didn't ask anymore. "Mr. Martin." The voice cut through his spiral. Professional, crisp, like money sounded if money could talk. Joshua looked up. A woman stood beside their table. 60-something. White. Silver hair pulled back in a way that probably cost more than his rent. Charcoal suit that whispered designer. Not the kind who shopped at outlets. The kind who had people shop for her. "I'm Patricia Johnson." She extended her hand. "I've been looking for you." Red flags. All of them. Waving. Joshua pulled Angela and Emma closer. "We're fine, thanks. I don't mean to intrude." Patricia's smile didn't reach her eyes. Professional warmth. The kind you learned in boardrooms. "But I need to speak with you. It's important." "Lady." Joshua stood. 6'2" of former Navy SEAL muscle didn't intimidate her. Not even a flicker. "I don't know who you are, but you're Joshua Martin, 34 years old, former SEAL Team 3, 2 daughters, Olivia and Emma." She didn't blink. Didn't apologize for knowing things she shouldn't know. "Unemployed 8 months after your accident at the Morrison construction site. 3 months behind on rent. You've applied to 207 jobs." The air left Joshua's lungs. How? How did she? "Who the hell are you?" Patricia glanced at the girls. Emma's eyes were wide. Angela looked scared. "Perhaps we could speak outside." "No." Joshua's jaw locked. "Say what you came to say or leave." Patricia reached into her briefcase, pulled out an iPad, turned it toward Joshua. The photograph stopped his heart. 22 years old. Desert fatigues. Face covered in soot and blood. Kneeling beside a burning Humvee. Arms around a female soldier. Her face half obscured by smoke. Kuwait. 2002. Operation Enduring Freedom. The IED. The explosion. Metal screaming. Fire eating oxygen. Someone trapped. A woman. Lieutenant Sarah Rodriguez. Pinned under twisted steel. Joshua had pulled her out, burned his hands on superheated metal, dragged her 50 feet while ammunition cooked off in the vehicle. Went back for 2 others while the whole thing threatened to blow. He'd been 23. Stupid brave, the kind of brave that gets you medals or body bags. "That's Sarah Rodriguez." Patricia's voice cracked. Just slightly. Just enough. "My daughter. You saved her life that day, Mr. Martin." The coffee shop tilted. Sarah lived. Patricia's composure fractured. She made it home, got married, had a beautiful life for 22 years. She died 3 years ago. Car accident. But she lived because of what you did. Joshua couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The world had shrunk to this woman's face in a photograph from another lifetime, before she died. Patricia's eyes glistened. "Sarah made me promise something. She said if anything happened to her, I should find the man who gave her those extra years. She wanted me to make sure he was taken care of, the way he took care of her." "I don't—" Joshua's voice came out wrong, broken. I don't understand. Patricia sat down, uninvited, unwavering. I'm 62 years old, Mr. Martin. I built Johnson Industries from nothing. Made more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Traveled everywhere. Own houses in 6 cities. She paused. When Sarah died, I realized none of it mattered. I had no family, no legacy, just empty rooms and employees who smile because I pay them to. Angela and Emma sat frozen, listening to adult words they couldn't quite grasp. I spent 3 years looking for purpose. Patricia continued. Donated millions, funded hospitals, built schools. Nothing filled the hole Sarah left. She leaned forward. Then I remembered her final request. Find Joshua Martin. Take care of him. The pause stretched. Outside, rain battered the pavement. I investigated you thoroughly. Patricia didn't apologize for that either. Your wife, Rebecca. Cancer. 4 years ago. How you raised these girls alone. The construction accident that destroyed your back, your career. The 200 jobs that turned you down because of your disability. Each word landed like a punch. I also know, her voice softened, that despite everything you never gave up. Your daughters adore you. You've kept them happy, hopeful. That takes strength most people don't have. She straightened, all business again. So here's my proposal, Mr. Martin. Patricia's gaze held steady. I have money but no family. You have family but no money. I have houses that echo. You have love that could fill any space. The world stopped. Marry me. Patricia said it like she was ordering coffee. I'll help you raise your daughters. Joshua laughed. Had to be a joke. Rich people games, hidden cameras somewhere. You can't be serious. I don't make proposals lightly. Patricia's expression didn't change. Business or personal? This is insane. Joshua stood, grabbed his jacket. Come on, girls, we're leaving. Mr. Martin? Patricia's voice stopped him. I understand this sounds crazy, but consider, your daughters would want for nothing. Best schools, college funds, opportunities you can't provide alone. You'd have financial security, medical care for your back, the chance to be the father you want to be instead of the one poverty forces you to be. Low blow. True, but low. And what would you get? Joshua's hands shook. Anger or fear, maybe both. A tax write-off? A charity case to parade around? Pain flashed across Patricia's face. Real pain, not the manufactured kind. I'd get to be a grandmother to 2 girls who need one. I'd get to help raise Sarah's legacy, the children of the man who saved her. Her voice dropped. And maybe, if I'm very lucky, I'd discover there's more than one way to build a family. She stood, placed an envelope on the table. Inside is $500, no strings, for the girls, and my card. Call me when you're ready to discuss the future, Mr. Martin. Patricia walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. One more thing, Sarah's last words, before the ambulance arrived. A witness heard her say, "Tell my mother to find Joshua Martin. Tell her to keep her promise. Tell her that love comes in many forms." Then she was gone. Just the rain and the envelope and 2 little girls staring at their father. Angela spoke first. "Daddy, what just happened?" Joshua didn't know, couldn't process. His brain had short-circuited somewhere between the photograph and the marriage proposal. "I don't know, baby." He picked up the envelope. 5 crisp $100 bills inside. A business card. Patricia Johnson, CEO, Johnson Industries. "I honestly don't know." The apartment smelled like mildew and broken dreams. 3rd floor, peeling paint, burned-out hallway lights. Home. Joshua carried sleeping Emma while Angela unlocked the door. 2B. Their lives compressed into 700 square feet of second-hand furniture and memories. Inside, someone had tried. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. Bookshelves made from cinder blocks and boards held well-read paperbacks. A second-hand piano against one wall, the keys sticky but functional. Angela went straight to homework. Emma curled up on the couch with her elephant. Routine, safety. The things that held life together when everything else fell apart. Joshua's phone buzzed. Brian Thompson, fellow SEAL, brother in every way that mattered except blood, currently working security at some tech company downtown. "Hey man, heard you had an interesting coffee date." "Small neighborhood. Everybody knew everybody's business." "How'd you—" "Morales saw you. Said some fancy white lady rolled up in a Mercedes. What's going on?" Joshua sank onto the couch. Told Brian everything. The photograph, Sarah, the proposal, all of it. Silence stretched across the line. Then, "She wants to what?" "Marry me. Legally. Full partnership." "This is a scam." Brian's voice went hard, protective. "Rich people don't marry broke vets out of charity. They write checks and feel good about themselves. She knew things, man. Details about Kuwait that weren't in any report. Had photos of Sarah I've never seen. This is real." "Real doesn't mean good." Brian exhaled. "What are you going to do?" From the bedroom came Olivia's voice, helping Emma brush her teeth, reading her a story. 8 years old playing mother because their actual mother was gone and their father couldn't afford help. "I don't know. You need time to think." Brian's tone shifted, gentler. "Don't decide tonight. Sleep on it. We'll talk tomorrow." After Brian hung up, Joshua sat in the dark. The girls were asleep. The apartment quiet except for the neighbor's TV bleeding through thin walls. He opened the drawer in the side table, pulled out Rebecca's journal, leather-bound, worn from reading. His wife's handwriting filled pages with hopes and fears and love letters to a future she'd never see. Joshua turned to the marked page, the one he read when loneliness felt like drowning. "If anything happens to me, I want you to find happiness again, David. You deserve someone who sees your strength, your goodness. The girls need a mother who will love them as fiercely as I do. Promise me you won't shut that door. Promise you'll keep your heart open." Rebecca had written that 6 months before she died, before the cancer turned aggressive, before the hospital bills buried them, before Joshua learned what it meant to be a single father working construction with a widow's grief wrapped around his throat like barbed wire. Keep your heart open. Easy words. Hard practice. Joshua picked up his phone. Patricia's number glowed on the screen. His thumb hovered. Pressed call. 1 ring. "Mr. Martin?" Patricia answered like she'd been waiting. Maybe she had. "I hope to hear from you." "I'm not promising anything." Joshua's voice came out rougher than intended. "But I'll meet you, tomorrow, to talk." "Of course." A pause. "Bring the girls. They should be part of this conversation from the beginning." That surprised him. Most people wanted to negotiate terms before involving children. Patricia wasn't most people. "Okay." Joshua rubbed his face. "Where?" "My home. I'll send you the address. 2 o'clock?" "Yeah, 2 is fine." He should hang up, but questions burned. "Mrs. Johnson, why me? Why not just, I don't know, set up a trust fund or something? Why marriage?" Silence. Then her voice, softer than before. "Because money is easy, Mr. Martin. Connection is hard, and I'm tired of easy." The line went dead. Joshua sat in the dark apartment, $500 on the table, a business card, and a choice that would change everything. Morning came with its usual chaos. Angela making cereal, Emma spilling juice, Joshua's back screaming as he bent to clean it up. The physical therapy helped, when he could afford sessions, which he couldn't, not lately. "Girls," Joshua poured coffee, gas station brand, weak and bitter. "We're going somewhere today, meeting someone." Angela looked up, suspicious. "Who?" "The lady from yesterday, Mrs. Johnson." "The rich lady?" Emma's eyes went wide. "Are we going to her house?" "Yeah, baby, we are." "Is she nice?" Emma asked. Joshua thought about it. Patricia had been many things yesterday. Direct, unsettling, invasive. But nice? "I think so. We'll find out." The drive took 30 minutes. Seattle traffic crawling. Joshua's pickup truck coughing black smoke. The heater broken. Again. Angela and Emma huddled under a blanket in the back seat. Queen Anne district. Houses that cost more than Joshua would earn in 10 lifetimes. Trees older than the city. Streets so clean they looked photoshopped. Patricia's address led to a Tudor-style house. Ivy climbing brick walls. Flower boxes overflowing with late-season blooms. A circular driveway. Garden that belonged in magazines. "Wow," Emma breathed. "It's like a castle." The front door opened before they knocked. Patricia stood there, different from yesterday. Jeans, cream sweater, hair in a simple ponytail. She looked human, less CEO, more person. "Welcome," she smiled, genuine this time, knelt to the girl's eye level. "You must be Angela and Emma. I'm so glad you came." Two golden retrievers bounded up, tails wagging, tongues lolling. Emma squealed, forgot all shyness, ran to the dogs. "That's Max," Patricia laughed as Emma got tackled by enthusiastic canines. "And that's Buddy. They love kids, very patient with little hands." Angela held back, more cautious. But Joshua saw her eyes tracking the dogs, wanting, holding back. "It's okay, sweetheart." Patricia kept her voice gentle. "They're friendly. Promise." Angela moved forward, slowly, let Buddy sniff her hand, then smiled. Actual smile. The first Joshua had seen in months. "Come inside." Patricia led them through the house. Not a museum, not cold minimalist wealth. A home, books everywhere, family photos on mantels, a fire crackling in a stone fireplace, comfortable furniture that invited sitting, living. "I had some things prepared." Patricia opened a door on the second floor. "I hope that's okay." The room beyond stopped Joshua cold. Purple. Soft purple walls. White trim. A canopy bed. Built-in bookshelves already filled with age-appropriate novels. A desk by the window. Art supplies in organized containers. For Angela, Patricia watched the girl's face. "I researched what 8-year-olds might like, but if you hate it, we can change everything." Angela stepped inside, touched the books, ran her fingers along the desk, looked at her father. "Dad? You like it, baby?" It's perfect." Patricia opened the next door. Yellow, cheerful yellow, twin beds, a play area with toys and games, more art supplies, stuffed animals arranged on shelves. And for Emma. Emma didn't ask permission, just ran in, grabbed a stuffed giraffe, hugged it like she'd found treasure. "Miss Pat," Emma's voice muffled against fake fur. "This is the best room ever." Joshua couldn't speak, couldn't process. These rooms, the care, the attention to detail, the thought put into colors and books and toys. This wasn't charity. This was something else. Something he didn't have words for. "There's one more thing." Patricia pulled a frame from her pocket, placed it on Angela's nightstand. A photograph. Rebecca, holding infant Emma, smiling at the camera. "Your mom will always be part of this family." Patricia's voice steady, clear. "She's not being replaced. She's being honored." Angela's eyes filled with tears. "You put Mom in my room?" "Of course. She raised you for the years I didn't get to. She loved you first. Best. That matters." Joshua's chest cracked. Just cracked. Right there in a yellow bedroom in a house that cost millions, while his daughters touched picture frames and believed in good things again. "Mr. Martin," Patricia touched his elbow. "Perhaps we could talk while the girls explore." They left Angela and Emma with the dogs, went to Patricia's study. Smaller, more personal. Walls covered in photographs spanning decades. Awards, certificates, business achievements. But one section held only pictures of a young woman. Dark hair, Patricia's blue eyes, laughing, living, Sarah. "She was beautiful," Joshua said, "inside and out." Patricia traced Sarah's face in a wedding photo. She would have made an incredible mother. She had this way of making everyone feel important. Seen, like her mother. Patricia looked surprised. "I tried. I raised her from 12, after her father died. Gave her everything I didn't have: stability, love, confidence to chase dreams. She moved to a small bar, poured 2 glasses of water, handed one to Joshua. Before we discuss terms, you need to understand something. Patricia's CEO mask slipped back. This isn't charity. It's partnership. I'm not doing this to save you. I'm doing this because we can save each other. How do I save you? Joshua asked. You have everything. I have nothing that matters. Patricia sat. Sarah was my world. When she died, I had no one. My houses are empty. My success means nothing. I'm 62 years old and facing decades alone unless I do something radical. She met Joshua's eyes. If you agree to this, I have expectations. I'm listening. The girls would be legally adopted as my daughters. You'd have equal say in all parenting decisions, but I won't be a checkbook. I want to be part of their daily lives. Homework, school events, piano lessons, the mundane moments and the milestones. Joshua nodded slowly. And us? He had to ask. What would our marriage look like? Patricia considered carefully. Separate bedrooms, at least initially. No physical expectations unless that develops naturally. We present as partners to the world, attend events together, be a united front. But privately, we're building something new, no template, no rules except the ones we make. It sounded reasonable, more reasonable than it should. Unless, Patricia hesitated, first time all day. Unless partnership becomes something more. I'm not opposed to that possibility, Joshua, but I won't demand it, won't expect it. From downstairs came laughter, the girls, playing with dogs, sounding like children instead of miniature adults bearing weight too heavy for small shoulders. There's something else. Patricia's voice dropped. Something I haven't told you about Sarah's death. Ice formed in Joshua's stomach. The accident wasn't random. Patricia opened a desk drawer, pulled out a file. She was driving to meet me for lunch. A drunk driver ran a red light. She died before the ambulance arrived. Tears tracked down Patricia's cheeks. She didn't wipe them. But a witness, someone who held her hand. They heard Sarah's last words. Patricia's voice broke completely. She said, "Tell my mother to find Joshua Martin. Tell her to keep her promise. Tell her that love comes in many forms." The weight of those words, a dying woman thinking of him, a stranger she'd met once, 22 years ago, in the worst moment of her life. So, you see, Patricia wiped her face, this isn't about what I want, or what you need. This is about honoring a dying woman's wish, creating something meaningful from tragedy. Joshua looked through the study window. Angela and Emma building a fort with couch cushions. Max and Buddy supervising. They looked happy, actually happy. "What are your terms?" he asked. Relief flooded Patricia's expression. "Let's start with the wedding." She pulled out a folder. Small, intimate. Just us and the girls and whoever you want present. Then we figure out the rest as we go. Joshua should feel trapped, should run, should protect his pride and his independence and all the things men are supposed to protect. But looking at Patricia, at this woman who'd spent 3 years searching for him because her daughter asked, who'd prepared bedrooms for his girls before knowing if he'd say yes, who put Rebecca's picture in those rooms without being asked. Maybe, just maybe, this was what second chances looked like. "Okay," Joshua heard himself say. "Let's do it." Patricia smiled, really smiled, the kind that reaches eyes and transforms faces. "Then let's go tell your daughters they're getting a new home." 6 weeks into marriage and Joshua still woke up disoriented. The bedroom too big, the sheets too soft, the silence too perfect. Not home. Would it ever feel like home? Downstairs, coffee already brewing. Patricia up before dawn, always. CEO habits died hard. Joshua found her in the kitchen, tailored navy suit, hair perfect, phone pressed to her ear while simultaneously checking Angela's math homework. "Yes, the board meeting is at 10, not 11. Her voice carried that edge, the one that made executives nervous. "And bring the Morrison projections, full report. not your edited highlights. She caught Joshua's eye, winked, like they were conspirators instead of strangers playing house. I need to go. My family is waiting for breakfast. My family. Said it like she meant it. Like Angela and Emma weren't borrowed. Temporary. A business arrangement with an expiration date. Patricia ended the call, set down the phone. Good morning? Sleep well? Define well. Joshua poured coffee. Real coffee. The kind that came in bags instead of cans. Still getting used to that. You? 3 hours. Maybe. She slid Angela's homework across the counter. Your daughter is brilliant. These calculations. She's doing work above her grade level. Your daughter. Not our daughter. Not yet. Maybe never. Lines still existed. Invisible but present. Angela appeared, backpack already on, Emma trailing behind with bedhead and mismatched socks. Morning, Dad. Morning, Miss Pat. 6 weeks and Emma still couldn't quite commit to Mom. Close. Getting closer. But not there. Patricia knelt, fixed Emma's socks without being asked. Natural. Maternal. Like she'd done it 1,000 times instead of 42 days. Ready for school, sweetheart? Mrs. Lee says I can play piano at assembly next week. Angela's eyes shone. She says I'm the best student she's ever had. Pride bloomed in Patricia's expression. Pure, unfiltered. That's wonderful. We should practice the piece tonight. Make sure you're ready. We. She kept using that word, claiming space in their lives, building connections brick by brick. Joshua's phone buzzed. Text from Brian. Lunch today? Need to talk. Nothing good ever followed need to talk, but Joshua typed back anyway. Noon. Usual place? See you there. Patricia glanced at him. Noticed. She always noticed. Everything okay? Brian wants lunch, probably checking in, making sure I haven't been kidnapped by a secret billionaire cult. Patricia laughed. Actually laughed. Free and unexpected. Tell him the cult meetings are Tuesdays. He's welcome to join. The Johnson Foundation gala invitation arrived by courier. Cream cardstock, embossed lettering, the kind of formal that required tuxedos and knowledge of which fork to use. Patricia found Joshua staring at it like a bomb. It's just a party. It's a room full of people who'll judge me. Joshua set the invitation down. Rich people, your people, who'll see a black man with a white billionaire and think gold digger. Then we prove them wrong. How? Patricia moved closer, not touching, just present. By being exactly who we are. Partners, co-parents, people building something unconventional but real. Easy for her to say. She belonged in ballrooms. Joshua belonged in hard hats. I don't even own a tuxedo. We'll fix that. Patricia pulled out her phone, started texting. My tailor can have one ready by Friday. Custom fit. It'll help with your back too. Proper support. Of course she had a tailor. Of course she'd already thought about his back. Patricia. Why do you care so much? About all this. Us. Making it work. She lowered the phone, met his eyes. Because I spent 3 years alone in this house, eating dinner by myself, coming home to silence. I told myself it was fine, that I preferred solitude, that relationships were messy and I'd had my chance with Sarah's father. Her voice cracked. Barely. But there. Then I found you, and your daughters, and suddenly this house has life in it. Laughter, chaos, piano music at odd hours, dog toys everywhere, muddy footprints on my marble floors. Patricia's eyes glistened. I'm not doing this for charity, Joshua. I'm doing it because you gave me something I didn't know I was missing, a reason to come home. The words hung between them, heavy, true, terrifying. Joshua's chest tightened, wanted to say something, anything. But Emma called from upstairs, needed help with her backpack. The moment shattered. Patricia blinked, composed herself. CEO mask sliding back. Go. Help her. I have a call in 5 minutes anyway. But as Joshua left, he caught Patricia's reflection in the hallway mirror. She looked vulnerable, hopeful, human. Maybe Brian was right. Maybe this was becoming something neither of them planned. The gala loomed like execution. Joshua stood in the bedroom. Custom tuxedo fitted perfectly. Patricia had been right. The tailoring supported his back, made him stand straighter, look like he belonged. Except he didn't, and everyone would know. Patricia appeared in the doorway, black evening gown, hair swept up, diamonds at her throat. She looked devastating, like old money and new power had a baby. "You clean up well, Mr. Martin." "You too, Mrs. Johnson." Weird, using last names, like they were strangers, which, technically, they still were. The drive downtown felt like marching toward battle. Patricia drove, some ridiculous luxury sedan that probably cost more than Joshua's entire previous life. "Stop fidgeting." "I'm not." "You are. Your left knee. It bounces when you're nervous." How did she know that? 6 weeks. She'd learned his tells in 6 weeks. I don't belong at these things." Patricia pulled up to the Fairmont Olympic Hotel, valet already moving toward the car. "Neither did I. Once." Her voice soft. "I was a scholarship kid from nowhere. Built everything from scratch. These people. They smell new money. They judge. But Joshua, they judged me too. And I'm still standing." The valet opened her door. "So are we doing this together? Or do I walk in alone?" Joshua looked at her. Really looked. Saw not the CEO or the billionaire, but a woman who'd been alone too long, who'd built walls so high she forgot what connection felt like, who was risking those walls for him, for Angela, for Emma. Together. He got out, offered his arm. Patricia took it, smiled, not the professional smile, the real one. "Then let's show Seattle what partnership looks like." The ballroom dripped wealth, crystal chandeliers, white-gloved servers, men in tuxedos worth more than cars, women in gowns that cost college tuitions. Joshua felt every eye turn. Assess, judge. A portly man in his 60s approached, champagne in hand, smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Patricia, delighted to see you." "Bradford." Patricia's warmth calculated, professional. "This is my husband, Joshua Martin. Joshua, Bradford Collins, major donor." Bradford's handshake limp, dismissive. "Martin, not Johnson. How? Modern." The emphasis on modern, code for something else, something uglier. "Patricia has always been unconventional." Bradford's gaze swept over Joshua. "Though this is quite the surprise. Former military, is that right?" "Navy SEAL." Joshua's voice level, even. "Team 3. How impressive." Not impressed. "Quite different from construction sites, I imagine." There it was, the condescension, the knowledge that Joshua had been researched, found wanting, classified as charity project. Patricia's grip on Joshua's arm tightened. Warning or support, maybe both. "Joshua has been instrumental in revising the Foundation's workplace safety initiatives." Her voice cut clean. "His experience brings perspectives we couldn't get from boardrooms." Bradford's expression shifted. Surprise. Then calculation. "Is that so? Perhaps we should discuss this further. I have investments in several development projects. Could benefit from practical insights." The word practical dripped, but the invitation seemed genuine. "I'd be happy to." Joshua matched his tone, professional, detached. Bradford moved on, but the interaction left residue. Reminder that Joshua would always be other, outside, the black man who married up. "I'm sorry," Patricia whispered. "Bradford is. He's—" "An asshole?" Joshua supplied. "Yeah, I noticed." A woman's voice cut through. "Patricia!" They turned, an elegant black woman in her 40s, silver-streaked natural hair, red gown that commanded attention. Patricia's face transformed, genuine joy. "Linda!" They embraced, real affection, not networking. "Joshua, This is Dr. Linda Brown, neurosurgeon at Seattle Presbyterian, one of my oldest friends. Patricia turned to Linda. Linda, my husband, Joshua Martin. Linda's handshake firm, her assessment direct but kind. The famous Joshua. Patricia has told me so much. All good, I hope. Mostly. Linda's smile mischievous. She mentioned you have terrible taste in coffee. Joshua laughed, surprised. Gas station brand. I know. We'll fix that. Linda winked. Patricia, when were you going to introduce me? I had to hear about the wedding from Jennifer's old unit reunion. Something flickered across Patricia's face. Pain, old but present. It happened fast. We're still figuring things out. Linda studied them both, then nodded, like she'd decided something. Good. You both deserve happiness, after everything. She excused herself, moved toward other colleagues. Joshua leaned close to Patricia. She knows about Sarah. Linda operated on Sarah when she came back from Kuwait. That's how we met. Patricia's voice dropped. She's one of 3 people who knows the whole story. Before Joshua could ask what whole story meant, another voice interrupted. Male, smooth, calculated. Patricia, you look absolutely radiant. Marriage clearly agrees with you. Joshua turned, met eyes with a man who looked like he'd stepped from a cologne ad. Mid-40s, tailored tuxedo, smile that could sell used cars or poison, probably both. Stephen. Patricia's warmth evaporated, voice arctic. I didn't expect to see you here. Foundation galas aren't usually your preferred charity. I've developed new interests. Stephen's gaze slid to Joshua. Assessed, dismissed. Workplace safety especially, given recent developments. The pause deliberate, waited. Stephen extended his hand to Joshua. Stephen Taylor. Patricia and I work together, very closely. The emphasis on closely, the slight smirk, the body language that screamed territorial. Joshua shook his hand, firm, not aggressive, measured. Joshua Martin. Ah, yes, the veteran. Stephen's smile sharpened. Patricia's project. The word landed like a slap. Patricia stepped forward, physically placed herself between them. Joshua is a decorated SEAL, my husband, and someone who deserves your respect. Show it, or leave. Stephen raised his hands. Mock surrender. No offense intended, just surprised. Patricia, you always said you'd never remarry. That work was your life. And now, this. He gestured vaguely at Joshua, like he was furniture, decor. Priorities change, Stephen. Patricia's voice could freeze oceans. Some people evolve. You should try it. Stephen's smile faltered, just slightly. Of course. Evolution. Well, enjoy your evening. I'm sure we'll talk soon. He melted into the crowd. Joshua exhaled. Hadn't realized he'd been holding his breath. That man thoroughly dislikes you. The feeling is mutual. Patricia scanned the room, found Stephen across the ballroom, watching. He's been trying to undermine me for years, first for my job, now, it seems, my personal life as well. Is he dangerous? Patricia considered. Not physically, but he's ambitious, vindictive, and morally flexible, that combination. It can cause different kinds of harm. The foundation director called for attention. Time for speeches. Ceremonial check presentation. Patricia excused herself, moved to the stage. Joshua stood alone. Champagne he hadn't touched warming in his hand. Felt eyes on him. Turned. Stephen Taylor. Across the room. Champagne raised. Mocking salute. Joshua held the gaze. Didn't flinch. Didn't look away. SEALs didn't intimidate easy, but unease settled in his gut. This man, this Stephen, he was a problem waiting to happen. 3 a.m. Emma's scream cut through the house. Joshua bolted from bed, down the hall, Patricia right behind him in silk pajamas. Emma thrashed in her bed, tangled in sheets, face flushed, burning. Daddy, hot, so hot. Joshua touched her forehead, snatched his hand back. "Patricia, she's—" "Get her in the car, now." Patricia already had her phone out, calling. "Dr. Brown, it's Patricia. Emma's burning up. We're heading to Presbyterian." No questions, no debate, just action. Joshua wrapped Emma in a blanket, carried her down. Patricia grabbed keys. They moved like a unit, practiced, even though they'd never done this before. The drive, nightmare. Emma whimpering. Patricia white-knuckled on the wheel. Joshua in back, holding his daughter, praying to gods he wasn't sure he believed in. Seattle Presbyterian emergency entrance. Dr. Linda Brown waiting, team ready. "Temperature?" Linda asked while taking Emma from Joshua's arms. 103.8 when I checked. Joshua's voice shook. Linda's expression tightened. "Get her to Bay 3. Start IV fluids. Blood cultures now." They whisked Emma away. Left Joshua and Patricia in the waiting room. Fluorescent lights, plastic chairs, smell of antiseptic and fear. Patricia sat, stood, paced, sat again. Joshua just froze, couldn't move, couldn't think. "Angela, where was—" "Mrs. Wilson has Angela." Patricia answered the unspoken question. "I texted her from the car. Angela's safe, asleep, doesn't know." Of course Patricia had thought of that. Even in crisis, she thought of everything. An hour. Felt like years. Linda emerged. Scrubs instead of gala gown. Face serious but not devastated. "Bacterial infection. Blood culture confirms. We've started IV antibiotics. High dose. She's responding. But Joshua, Patricia, this is serious. We need to keep her overnight. Maybe longer." "Can we stay?" Patricia asked. "Of course. I'm moving her to a private room. You'll both fit." They followed Linda through corridors. Arrived at a room. Not stark hospital, almost comfortable. Big enough for a roll-away bed. Emma lay small in the hospital bed. IV in her arm, monitors beeping. But, breathing. Color better already. Patricia and Joshua took positions on either side. Vigil, guard duty. Nurses came and went, checked vitals, adjusted medications. Linda stopped by twice. "She's stable. The antibiotics are working. She'll be okay." But neither of them left. Dawn crept through windows. Pale Seattle light. Emma's eyes fluttered open. "Daddy? Miss Pat?" Patricia's hand found Joshua's, across the bed, over their daughter. Our daughter. Not anymore a technicality. Not anymore a business arrangement. Emma had made them a we. "We're here, baby." Joshua's voice rough. "Both of us." Emma's gaze drifted to their joined hands. "You're holding hands." Patricia looked down, surprised, like she hadn't realized. "We were worried about you." Patricia's thumb traced Joshua's knuckles. Unconscious. Natural. Emma smiled, weak but real. Are you like, real married now? Like, with love?" The question hung. Innocent. Devastating. Joshua looked at Patricia. Found her looking back. 6 weeks. 42 days. A contract. A partnership. A solution to mutual problems. Except somewhere between piano lessons and midnight tea and matching Emma's socks. Something had shifted. Patricia's eyes asked a question. Joshua squeezed her hand. "Answer." "Yeah, baby." His voice steady. "Sure. We're real married." Emma's smile widened. "Good. I like Miss Pat. She makes you less sad." Gut punch. Direct hit. Less sad. Was he? Had Joshua carried sadness so long he'd forgotten what lighter felt like? Patricia's eyes filled. She blinked fast, cleared throat. "And you make me less lonely, sweetheart." Emma yawned. Medications pulling her back under. "Love you both." She drifted, peaceful. Joshua and Patricia sat, hands still joined, watching their daughter sleep. "Joshua," Patricia's whisper barely audible, Are we really?" "I don't know." Honest. "But I think, maybe, we're becoming something. Something more than we planned." Yeah, something more. Patricia rested her head against his shoulder, exhausted, terrified, hopeful. They stayed like that, until nurses kicked them out for shift change. Discharge came late afternoon. Emma weak but improving. Antibiotics, rest, follow-up in 3 days. Outside the hospital. Paparazzi. Not expected. Not prepared. Cameras, flash. Questions hurled like weapons. Mr. Martin, comment on your marriage? Mrs. Johnson, is this a scandal? Is it true you married to avoid a lawsuit? Joshua froze. What lawsuit? What the hell? Patricia's arm around Emma, shielding, protective. No comment, please, let us through. But they pressed. Closer. Aggressive. A camera shoved near Emma's face. Joshua's training kicked in, shifted, blocked, created space. Back off. Now. His voice. Command voice. The one that made recruits jump. They backed off. Security appeared. Hospital personnel. Created corridor. They made it to the car. Inside. Doors locked. Patricia's hands shook on the wheel. How did they... Stephen. Joshua's gut knew. Had to be. Patricia pulled out her phone. Typed. Face carved from stone. To Stephen. This crosses the line. My daughter was hospitalized and you sent paparazzi. We're done being civil. Response came immediately. I have no idea what you're talking about. But if the press is interested in your unconventional arrangement, perhaps that's a sign to reconsider your choices. Patricia threw the phone. Actual threw it. Across the car. It clattered against the passenger window. That absolute... Mom? Emma's small voice from the back. Are you okay? Mom. Not Miss Pat. Just Mom. Patricia's fury collapsed. She turned, composed herself. Yes, sweetheart, I'm fine. Just frustrated with work. They drove home. Silent. Tense. But inside Joshua's head, gears turned. Lawsuit. Scandal. Stephen's smug face. Something wasn't right. Something Patricia hadn't told him. That night, after Emma settled, after Angela kissed them both goodnight, after the house went quiet, Joshua found Patricia in her study. 2 a.m. Always 2 a.m. with her. But this time, not working, crying, actual tears, streaming, unchecked, papers spread across her desk, photographs, police reports, images of a car crash, twisted metal, emergency lights. Joshua's blood went cold. Patricia? She looked up, mascara smudged, composure shattered. Today is the anniversary. Anniversary of what? 3 years, since Sarah died. The papers, the photos, Sarah's accident. Joshua closed the door, moved closer. You don't have to do this alone. I always do it alone. Patricia's voice broke. Every year, I review the reports, try to understand, try to make sense of... She stopped, caught herself. Of what? Patricia looked at him, really looked, like she was deciding something. Of why the drunk driver was never found. Of why Sarah's last text wasn't to me. Of why... Her phone showed a message, text thread, Sarah's final words, 1 contact, Stephen Taylor, 1 message from Sarah, timestamp 2:13 p.m., December 15th, 2021. Why? That's it, just why. Joshua's brain tried to process. Couldn't. Sarah texted Stephen before she died? They had lunch that day. Patricia's words tumbled. Stephen was drinking. Sarah took his keys, called him a rideshare, told him to go home. Then she drove to meet me for our lunch date. Pause. Breath. At 2:15 p.m., a black Audi A8, same model Stephen drove, same intersection, ran a red light, hit Sarah's car, driver fled, license plate obscured, no witnesses, no arrests. Ice formed in Joshua's veins. You think Stephen... I think Stephen got his keys back somehow. I think he was drunk behind the wheel. I think he killed my daughter and then just came to her funeral, held my hand, cried, told me how much he'd miss her. The words hung, poisonous, devastating. Do you have proof? No, just suspicions, timeline, the text, the fact that Stephen was unreachable for 4 hours after the accident. That when he finally surfaced, he had a cut on his forehead, blamed it on the gym. Patricia picked up another document. This is why Stephen is after me now, after us. He's afraid. Afraid I'll keep investigating. Find evidence. Destroy him. Joshua sat. Processed. Stephen Taylor, COO. Company man. Possible murderer. And Joshua had just become his target by marrying Patricia. There's more. Patricia's voice dropped. Something I should have told you from the beginning. Here it comes. The other shoe. The real bomb. Patricia opened a different folder. Johnson Industries. We own 60% of Morrison Development. Through shell companies, subsidiaries. I didn't know until after we met. The room tilted. Your company owns Morrison. Yes. The company where I got hurt, where my back was, where my career. Yes. Joshua stood, paced, couldn't sit, couldn't be still. So this whole thing, this marriage, this was what? Covering your ass? Preventing a lawsuit? No! Patricia stood too, desperate. I didn't know about Morrison when I found you. I swear, I approached you because of Sarah. Because of her dying wish. The Morrison connection. I discovered that later, during background checks. And you didn't think that was information I deserved? I was going to tell you, I couldn't find the right moment. And then we were building something good, and I was afraid I'd walk away. Yes, truth. Ugly, painful, but truth. Joshua grabbed his jacket. I need air. I need to think. Joshua, please. Not now. I can't. Not now. He left. Drove. Nowhere specific. Just away. His phone rang. Brian. Yeah. You sound like hell. What happened? Joshua told him. Everything. Morrison, Stephen, Sarah's death, the possibility of murder and cover-up, and his wife, who'd kept it all hidden. Man, Brian's voice grim, that's heavy. What do I do? What do you want to do? Good question. What did Joshua want? To run? To protect himself and Angela and Emma from whatever storm was coming? Or to stay? To fight beside Patricia against Stephen and secrets and the weight of the past? I don't know. Then sleep on it. Don't make decisions at 3 a.m. when you're pissed and scared. Wise advice. Joshua drove home, found Patricia still in her study, still awake. I'm not leaving, he said from the doorway, but I need time to process, to figure out what this means. Patricia nodded, relief and fear warring on her face. Okay, whatever you need. Joshua went to bed. Separate room, alone. But sleep didn't come, because somewhere in the middle of anger and betrayal, one thought kept circling. Patricia hadn't told him everything. But Stephen was the real enemy, and Joshua was a SEAL. SEALs didn't leave their people behind, even when those people kept secrets. Morning came with clarity, cold, sharp, unforgiving. Joshua sat at the kitchen table. Coffee untouched, brain running scenarios like he was planning a mission, because this was a mission. Target, truth. Obstacle, Stephen Taylor. Brian arrived at 9, hauled in a laptop and a duffel bag full of equipment that probably shouldn't be legal. You sure about this? Brian sat up at the dining room table. We're talking about investigating a COO, a connected guy. This could backfire. I'm sure. Joshua pulled out his notes. Timeline, questions, gaps in Patricia's story. Patricia appeared in the doorway. Looked like she hadn't slept. Good. Neither had he. What's going on? We're investigating Stephen. Joshua didn't soften it. You said you had suspicions but no proof. Let's find proof. Patricia blinked. Surprise, hope, fear, all three. You're not leaving? I'm pissed, but I'm not leaving. Joshua met her eyes. Emma calls you Mom. Angela plays piano because of you, and Stephen Taylor. That man is a problem. For you, for us, for everyone. Brian coughed. Also, possible murderer. Can't let that slide. Patricia moved into the room, slow, like approaching something wild. What do you need from me? Everything. Joshua pulled out a chair. Every document, every suspicion, every piece of information you have about Stephen, Morrison Development, the accident, all of it. She sat, started talking. 3 days of digging. SEAL training plus Brian's frankly alarming skill set equaled results. Morrison Development. Ownership structure deliberately obscured. But public records didn't lie, just had to know where to look. Here, Brian pulled up an email chain. December 2023, Stephen Taylor to Morrison Management. Subject, budget overruns Building C. Joshua leaned in, read. We're hemorrhaging money on safety protocols. Cut the redundant inspections. Focus on timeline. We'll deal with compliance issues if they arise. Building C, where Joshua's accident happened, March 2024. Son of a bitch. Joshua's hands curled into fists. He knew. He ordered the cuts. Gets better, Brian scrolled. Or worse, depending on perspective. Another email. Stephen to Morrison. September 2024. After Joshua's accident. Ensure all communications regarding Building C incidents are routed through my office. No direct board reporting. Cover-up. Active. Intentional. Patricia stood behind them. Silent. But Joshua felt her tension. This proves Stephen caused the accidents. Joshua's voice flat. Cold. Not you. Him. That's not all we found. Brian pulled up traffic camera footage. Grainy. Time-stamped December 15, 2021. 2:14 p.m. Black Audi A8. Partial plate visible. Running a red light at the intersection where Sarah died. Can you enhance the plate? Already did. Brian typed, brought up the registration. Plate registered to Stephen Taylor, company vehicle. The room went silent, just breathing, and the sound of everything clicking into place. He killed her, Patricia's voice hollow. He killed my daughter. Joshua turned, found Patricia gripping the back of a chair, knuckles white, face drained. We don't have enough for criminal charges. Brian's tone careful. Traffic cam doesn't show the driver, just the car. Stephen could claim it was stolen, borrowed, any number of excuses. But it's enough to destroy him professionally. Joshua stood, pieces assembling. Emails proving he ordered safety violations, timeline connecting him to Sarah's death. This ends his career, and saves Johnson Industries from liability, Brian added. Shows Patricia didn't know, that Stephen acted alone. Patricia shook her head. I don't care about the company. I care about justice. For Sarah, for Joshua, for the 3 other workers hurt at Morrison. Then we take it to the board. Joshua's mind already moving. Planning. Force Stephen out. Start criminal investigation. Let the truth burn everything down. Patricia looked at him. Really looked. This will get ugly. Stephen won't go quietly. He'll attack, use our marriage, twist everything into scandal. Let him try. Joshua's voice hard. Certain. I'm a SEAL. We don't back down from threats. The emergency board meeting, scheduled for January 5th, 3 days away. Patricia spent those days preparing. Documents, presentations, legal strategy. Joshua spent them drilling, rehearsing, anticipating Stephen's attacks. Because Stephen would attack, no question. He'll go after your credibility. Patricia paced her study. Paint you as someone I'm manipulating or being manipulated by. Let me worry about that. Joshua reviewed his notes. You focus on the business case, the liability, the cover-up. Night before the meeting. Joshua found Angela practicing piano. Chopin. Something complicated Patricia had been teaching her. "Hey, baby." Angela stopped, turned. "Dad, are you okay? You've been intense last few days." Kids noticed everything. Joshua sat beside her on the bench. "Remember when I told you that sometimes grown-ups have to make hard choices?" "Yeah." "Well, I'm making one tomorrow, something that might change things, but it's the right thing to do." Angela studied his face. 8 years old, going on 30. "Does it have to do with Miss Pat? I mean, Mom?" Mom. She'd started saying it. Natural. Easy. "Yeah, it does." "Are you protecting her?" "I'm protecting our family," Joshua corrected. "All of us." Angela nodded, solemn. "Then it'll be okay, because you always protect us." Simple faith, devastating trust. Joshua hugged her, held on maybe too long. "Love you, baby." "Love you too, Dad." January 5th. Johnson Industries headquarters, 38th floor. Boardroom with views that cost more than most people's houses. 12 board members, power suits, expensive watches, faces that had seen everything and believed nothing. Patricia sat at the head, CEO, commander, general facing mutiny. Stephen Taylor, confident, smug, already positioned as the reasonable one, the concerned executive, the voice of prudence. "Thank you all for coming on short notice." Patricia's voice steady, professional. "There are matters of urgent importance we need to address." "Indeed." Stephen leaned back, casual, unthreatened. "I share Patricia's concern, which is why I requested this meeting be called." "Wait, what?" "You requested—" Patricia stopped, recalibrated. Stephen smiled. Predator smile. "The board deserves to know the truth about certain irregularities in leadership." Here we go. "Patricia Johnson has engaged in behavior unbecoming a CEO." Stephen opened a folder. Theatrical. "She initiated a personal relationship with Joshua Martin, a man who suffered injuries at a construction site owned by our subsidiary. A relationship that began before Mr. Martin could pursue legal action against this company." Murmurs around the table. Shock, concern, judgment. "Furthermore," Stephen continued, "Mrs. Johnson commissioned a psychological evaluation of Mr. Martin without his knowledge or consent, an egregious invasion of privacy that speaks to manipulative behavior." Patricia's jaw tightened, but she stayed silent, letting Stephen hang himself. "These actions call into question Mrs. Johnson's judgment, her ethics, her fitness to lead this organization." Stephen closed the folder, looked at the board. "I move that we begin proceedings to remove Patricia Johnson as CEO, effective immediately." Silence. Heavy. Damning. Then the boardroom door opened. Joshua walked in. Not invited, not expected, but there. Stephen's smile faltered. "Mr. Martin, this is a closed board meeting." "You're discussing my life." Joshua's voice cut clean. Command voice. Seal voice. "I have a right to be here." Walter Concade, board chairman, 70-something, old money, coughed. "Mr. Taylor has a point about protocol. However, Mr. Martin, if you have something to contribute, the board will hear it." Joshua moved to the center of the room, 12 pairs of eyes on him, judging, assessing, black man, in a room of white power, about to defend a white woman. The optics, the implications, the weight. But Joshua had faced worse. Taliban fighters, hostile fire, death. This was just rich people. "You all see what you expect to see." Joshua's gaze swept the table. A black man who married a wealthy white woman. Gold digger, opportunist, someone taking advantage. Discomfort rippled. No one denied it. "But let me tell you what you don't see." Joshua pulled out a document. 3 weeks ago, I signed this." He handed it to Walter Concade. "That's a legal waiver. I gave up my right to sue Johnson Industries. Blockchain verified, time-stamped, impossible to backdate or forge." Walter examined it, passed it to the corporate counsel, who nodded confirmation. If Patricia only wanted to silence me. Joshua's voice even, factual. This document accomplished that. She didn't need marriage, didn't need relationship. She already had legal protection. Stephen shifted, uncomfortable, but recovered. That could easily be part of the deception, a sophisticated cover. I'm not finished. Joshua cut him off. Not rude, just unyielding. You want to talk about ethics? Let's talk about yours. He pulled out the emails, handed them to Walter. December 2023, Stephen Taylor ordered Morrison Development to cut safety inspections on Building C to save money. Meet timelines. The room tensed. Everyone knew what Building C meant. March 2024. I was injured at Building C, along with 3 other workers, because safety protocols Stephen cut weren't in place. Walter read the emails, face darkening. After the accidents, Joshua continued, Stephen ordered all communications routed through his office. No direct board reporting, active cover-up. Stephen stood. This is absurd. Those emails are out of context. Context is pretty clear. Brian's voice from the doorway. Another uninvited guest. Want me to read them out loud? Because I've got time. Joshua didn't acknowledge Brian, kept his focus on the board. Patricia didn't know about Morrison, didn't know about the safety violations. She discovered the connection after meeting me. And you know what she did? Pause. Let them wonder. She launched an internal investigation, reformed all safety protocols across every subsidiary, reduced workplace injuries by 32% in 3 months, submitted Stephen's violations to OSHA and the state attorney general. Patricia's eyes widened. She hadn't known that last part. Because. Joshua's voice dropped. Quiet. Powerful. Patricia Johnson believes in accountability, even when it costs her, even when it makes her company look bad. He turned to Stephen. You tried to paint me as a victim, someone Patricia manipulated. But I'm not a victim. I'm a Navy SEAL, and we don't leave our people behind. The words hung, electric. People meaning, Walter started. Patricia, Angela, Emma, the workers you endangered, everyone your ambition hurt. Joshua faced the board again. You want ethics? Fire the man who ordered safety cuts, who covered up accidents, who prioritized profit over human life. And there's one more thing. Patricia stood, voice steady. December 15th, 2021. My daughter Sarah had lunch with Stephen Taylor. He was drinking. She took his keys, called him a ride share. She pulled up traffic camera footage on the screen. At 2:15 p.m., this black Audi A8 ran a red light, hit Sarah's car. The driver fled. Sarah died at the scene. The image froze. License plate visible. That vehicle, registered to Stephen Taylor. Gasps, shock, horror. Stephen's face went white, then red. You can't prove I was driving. Sarah's last text. Patricia's voice shook but held. Before she died, she texted you one word. Why? She showed the message, projected for everyone. Why would she ask why? Unless you were there, unless you caused it. Stephen stood, furious, desperate. This is conspiracy, slander. I'll sue. You'll do nothing. Walter Concade's voice, final, authoritative. Sit down, Mr. Taylor. Stephen sat, trapped. Walter looked at the board, then at Patricia, then at Joshua. This is far beyond what I expected today. He stood, deliberated silently. The board will take a recess, 30 minutes. When we return, we'll vote on 2 matters, Mr. Taylor's continued employment and Mrs. Johnson's leadership. 30 minutes in a conference room. Patricia, Joshua, Brian, waiting. I can't believe you did that. Patricia's voice barely above whisper. Walked in there. Defended me. What did you think I'd do? Joshua asked. Let them tear you apart? I thought, after the secrets, after Morrison, you'd want distance. Joshua took her hand, first time he'd initiated contact. I was angry, am angry, But Patricia, you gave my daughters a home, a future. You gave me a partner, someone who sees me as more than broken. Patricia's eyes filled. You're not broken. I was, before you, before this. I was drowning, and too proud to ask for help. I wasn't helping. Patricia squeezed his hand. I was saving myself, too. The door opened. Walter Concade. The board has reached decisions. Back to the boardroom, 12 faces, solemn, decided. Walter stood. First matter, Stephen Taylor's employment. He looked at Stephen. By unanimous vote, you are terminated, effective immediately. Security will escort you out. All company devices, access, revoked. Stephen's face, shock, rage, denial. You can't. I've given 15 years. You endangered lives, covered up accidents, and we have serious questions about your involvement in Sarah Rodriguez's death. Walter's voice iron. Criminal authorities will be notified. You should contact an attorney. Security appeared, flanked Stephen, led him out. As he passed Joshua, Stephen's eyes promised violence, revenge. Joshua didn't flinch, held the gaze until Stephen looked away. Broken. Second matter. Walter turned to Patricia. Your leadership. Here it was, the verdict. The board acknowledges your marriage to Mr. Martin, raised concerns. However, after reviewing evidence, hearing testimony, we find no ethical violations. Relief flooded Patricia's face. You will remain CEO, but under increased oversight for 6 months, regular reviews, transparency requirements to ensure full board awareness of potential conflicts. Fair. More than fair. I accept those terms. Patricia's voice strong, clear. Meeting adjourned. Outside the building, January cold biting. But Joshua barely felt it. Patricia leaned against him, exhausted, relieved, alive. We did it. You did it, Joshua corrected. I just showed up. You did more than show up. Patricia looked at him. You chose us, even when you had every reason not to. That's what family does. Family. The word settled. Comfortable. Right. Brian appeared, grinning. So, that was fun? We doing this again? God, I hope not. Patricia laughed, actual laugh, free and unguarded. Come on. Joshua guided her toward the car. Let's go home. Tell the girls their mom is still CEO and that their dad didn't get arrested for unauthorized board crashing. Do I want to know what you would have done if they'd voted against her? Brian asked. Joshua smiled. Probably not. Home. Angela and Emma tackled them at the door. Max and Buddy barking. Chaos. Beautiful chaos. Did you win? Angela asked. We won, Patricia confirmed. Emma hugged her, then pulled back. Mom, can I really call you Mom? All the time? Patricia knelt, eye level, tears streaming. Yes, sweetheart, any time you want. And you won't leave, like our first mom did? Gut punch, pure, direct. I'm not going anywhere. Patricia's voice steady. Promise. I chose you. I chose this family, and that choice. It's forever. Emma threw herself into Patricia's arms. Angela looked at Joshua. Dad? Are you happy? Was he? The question hit deeper than expected. 3 months ago, Joshua had been drowning. Broken. Watching his daughters suffer because he couldn't provide. Now he had. Everything he'd thought impossible. Yeah, baby, I'm happy. Good, Angela hugged him. You deserve it. Kids, they destroyed you with honesty. That night, after the girls slept, after the adrenaline faded, after everything settled, Joshua found Patricia on the back porch, same spot they'd sat after the wedding. Lifetime ago. 3 months ago. Hey. He sat beside her, close, deliberate. I've been thinking. Dangerous. Patricia's lips quirked. About us. This marriage. This partnership. Patricia tensed, afraid of what came next. When we started, it was practical. Solution to problems. Mutual benefit. Yes, but somewhere, between hospital rooms and piano lessons and board meetings, it became more. Patricia turned, hope and fear warring. More how? Joshua took her hand, threaded their fingers together. I love you. Simple, direct, true. Not because of what you gave us, but because of who you are. Stubborn, brilliant, wounded, real. Patricia's breath caught. I love you too. Whispered, like confession. I think I have for weeks, but I was afraid. Afraid it was one-sided. Afraid you still saw this as transaction. Not anymore. Joshua leaned closer. This is real. We're real. The kiss, soft, questioning, then deeper. Answer to questions neither had asked, but both had wondered. When they separated, Patricia rested her forehead against his. So, what now? Now, Joshua smiled. We figure it out. Together. Like everything else. No more secrets? No more secrets. Even the scary ones? Especially those. Patricia pulled back, studied his face. There's one more thing. About Stephen. The investigation. What about it? A witness came forward, someone who saw Stephen leave the accident. Description matches. They're reopening Sarah's case. Criminal charges likely. Justice. Finally. How do you feel? Patricia considered. Relieved. That truth is coming. Sad that it won't bring Sarah back. But mostly, grateful. For what? That Sarah's last wish. Find Joshua Martin. Help him. It led me to you. To Angela. To Emma. To everything I didn't know I needed. She leaned into him. Sarah would have liked you. Not just the soldier who saved her, but the man you are now. The father. The partner. I wish I could have known her. You do know her, Patricia's voice soft. Through me. Through the choices I make because of what she taught me. She lives in this family we've built. Truth. Complicated. Beautiful. Painful. But truth. 2 months later. March 15th. First real day of spring. The investigation into Stephen Taylor. Progressing. Witness testimony strong. Prosecutors confident. Trial likely by summer. Morrison development. Under new management. Safety overhauls complete. Joshua consulting regularly. Good money. Meaningful work. Using his injury to prevent others. Angela's piano recital. School auditorium packed. She played Chopin. Flawless. Brought the house down. Patricia cried. Proud mom tears. Emma painted a family portrait. 4 people, 2 dogs, house that looked like a castle, hearts everywhere. She gave it to Patricia for her birthday. This is us, forever. Patricia hung it in her office, where everyone could see. And Joshua. Joshua woke up one random Tuesday, realized his back didn't hurt, not gone, but manageable, controllable. Realized Angela was humming while doing homework. Happy humming, not stressed silence. Realized Emma hadn't had nightmares in weeks. Realized Patricia smiled more, laughed easier, looked lighter. Realized he loved coming home. Not the house, though the house was nice, but to them, his family, the one he'd chosen, who'd chosen him back. Dad, Angela called from the piano. Can you help me with this part? Sure, baby. He walked over, sat beside her. Patricia joined them. Emma climbed into Patricia's lap. 4 people, crowded on one piano bench. Max and Buddy sprawled at their feet. This was what second chances looked like. Not perfect, never perfect, but real. And real. Real was enough. Narrator voice. Cinematic, reflective. Joshua Martin's story. It teaches something most people spend lifetimes learning. Family isn't blood, isn't biology, isn't the hand you're dealt at birth. Family is choice, made daily, in small moments and large, in hospital rooms and boardrooms and piano benches too crowded for 4 people but somehow fitting perfectly. Joshua could have walked away. Should have. By most people's logic. Too many secrets, too much baggage, too complicated. But he stayed, because Angela needed stability, because Emma needed a mother, because Patricia needed someone to see past the money and the power and the walls, to the lonely woman inside, still grieving, still hoping, and in staying. Joshua found something unexpected. Not rescue, not salvation, but partnership, true partnership, where both people bring brokenness, both bring strength, and together build something neither could create alone. Black man, white woman, age gap, power imbalance, everything society says shouldn't work. But it did, because they worked at it every day, making the choice to stay, to fight, to love. The lesson isn't that love conquers all. That's fairy tale nonsense. The lesson is that love is a choice, made repeatedly, in good moments and terrible, when it's easy and when it's impossible. Joshua chose Patricia. Not once, but every day. When she kept secrets, when she cried at 2 a.m., when board members judged, when Stephen attacked. Patricia chose Joshua. When he had nothing, when he was angry, when trust frayed, when the easy answer was distance. They chose Angela and Emma over and over, biological or not. Those girls were theirs, because parenthood, real parenthood, isn't about DNA. It's about showing up, day after day, year after year. And here's the thing most people miss. Stephen Taylor. He thought money and power meant control, meant winning, meant immunity from consequences. He was wrong, because no amount of wealth protects you from truth, from justice, from the reality that actions, all actions, have weight, have cost. Patricia could have covered up Morrison, protected her company, sacrificed Joshua to save quarterly earnings. She didn't. Because some things, some people, matter more than profit, more than reputation, more than legacy. She chose accountability, chose reform, chose human life over shareholder value. That's integrity, not the showy kind, not the kind that gets press releases and awards, the quiet kind. That costs something, that hurts. That's right anyway. And Joshua, he could have taken the money, the house, the security, kept his distance, protected himself from emotional risk. He didn't. Because some things, some people, are worth the risk, worth fighting for, worth staying for, worth building something new from ruins of something old. This is what we forget in our swipe right, trade up, disposable culture, that real relationships, the kind that last, the kind that matter, they're forged in crisis, tested by secrets, strengthened through choosing, again and again, to stay. When Emma asked if Patricia was real married now, with love, the answer wasn't about rings or vows or legal documents. It was about the choice, made daily, to be present, to be honest, to be family. So here's the question. For you, watching this, judging, deciding, who are you choosing, and who's choosing you back? Not because they have to, not because biology or obligation or guilt demands it, but because, in the mess and chaos and imperfection of life, you've found someone who sees you, really sees you, and chooses you anyway. That's what Joshua and Patricia found. Not perfection, not ease, but partnership, real, flawed, fighting for each other when the world said walk away. And in the end, that's the only thing that matters. Not how the story started, but how it continues, day by day, choice by choice, building something extraordinary from something that should have been, by all logic, impossible. Family isn't about blood, it's about choice. And love, real love, isn't about finding someone perfect, it's about choosing someone imperfect and building something perfect together. That's the lesson. That's the truth. Now, the question is, what are you going to choose? Final image. Joshua, Patricia, Angela, Emma, piano bench, crowded, happy, real, freeze frame, fade to black.